All right, our second worksheet for week 2 is 5.NF.4a. That's a 4 with a lowercase a. So you can find that in your workbook. Hopefully you have already completed it and you're now just going over it with me. This one we're moving into multiplication expressions. This one says write a multiplication expression for 1/6 of 18. We've talked about the word of meaning to multiply. So we are simply writing the expression to say 1/6 times 18. It didn't ask us to solve it, just an expression. All right, in this next one, we're going to take this number equation and we're going to plug it into our story problem. This is saying 7 times 1/2 equals 7 over 2, which is also 3 1/2. The story problem says, Lisa uses blank bags of soil in each flower pot. She fills blank flower pots. How many bags of soil does Lisa use in all? Well, that immediately tells me that my in all is my answer, so I can throw that in there, 3 1/2. Okay, that one's going to go there. That's how many bags of soil she used up. Okay, so it wouldn't make sense to put 7 in as bags if she's using 3 1/2. So 7 is going to be our flower pots, and we use a 1/2 bag of soil in each one of those flower pots. So that if we use a 1/2 bag of soil in each flower pot, when we're done, we will have used 3 1/2 bags of soil. All right, number 3 is a little tricky, and it's something we haven't done a huge amount on. You did do a lot on Khan Academy, and we worked on these. I'm going to visually show you what this one is talking about. We are going to pretend like we are just going to use the number line to represent 3/4. Okay, and the 3/4 would be, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to show you by doing our little diagonal lines over the 3. Okay, so right here, this little section, this section here represents 3 out of 4, okay? Then the next thing is 1/2. This line right here is showing you 1/2 of the total, okay? So if we were to use this to come up with what our total is, we would only count our double shaded areas as our numerator. So we would have 1, 2, 3 out of our total that we have, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's how we use that kind of a model. Now we could check it, and we would have our 3/4 times 1/2, and we would end up with 3/8. All right, this one we're going to find the product. Remember, the multiplication is the easiest one when it's just a problem. It's most difficult when we're finding it in story problems. But when they just show us the problem and we don't have any mixed number, we just get to go across and multiply. So it would be 4 times 2, which is 8, and 5 times 3, which is 15. So our answer is 8/15. Now, I believe that I can simplify that more because I can't simplify that more. 3 goes into 15, but 3 does not go into 8. So 8/15 would be our final. Remember, I always cautioned you to check that 3 because those are the ones, for instance, 9/12 is 3/4, and we miss that a lot. So when you see a number like 15 that has 3 that can go into it, always double check that your top number doesn't have 3 that can go into it as well. All right. Jordan read 12 books last month. Of the books, so the books was 12. Of the books, 3/4 of them were about space. How many books were about space? This is where we get into problems, knowing between multiplication and addition. When the problem is asking us of something that has already given us a number, then it's multiplication. When it's something that is 2 parts, like Bree put 3/4 of the puzzle together and Mrs. Fisher put 5/6 of the puzzle together. Those are 2 parts making a whole. That's an addition. Multiplication means that you look at what your of is connected to and what your fraction is connected to. So this is of these books, 3/4 of them were about space. And when we do it that way, we're saying 12 times 3/4. Or if we did it the way that it says it, it would be 3/4 of 12, okay, which equals 3/4 times 12. So if you're struggling with your story problems, put it in there, put the of in there, and you'll see what symbol you should be using. So all we do is we make this our whole number and we go across. 12 times 3 is 36. 4 times 1 is 4. We've learned all along 36 divided by 4 is what this actually says, and we know that to be 9. So 9 of the 12 books are about space. And when you plug it in like that and take that fraction out of it with a whole number, it makes a lot more sense to you. All right, page 2. Select all the expressions that are equivalent to 5 times 2/3. Well, let's first figure out what 5 times 2/3 is. We have 5/1 times 2/3, which equals 10/3. If I were to turn that into a mixed number, I would end up with 3 1/3. Okay, so I'm looking for something with 10/3 or the 3 1/3. This one here would be 10 times 2. This is saying 10 times 2, which is, 5 times 2, which is 10, divided by 3. 10 divided by 3. There it is. That one is going to be equivalent. This one here is taking 2/3 5 times, just like it says up here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 over 3. Because we're adding, we don't add them all together. We just keep our denominator. So that one is correct. This one is saying 10 times 1/3, and that's not going to work. This one says 10 divided by 15. We could simplify that down, but it's not going to become our problem up there. This one says 10 divided by 3, so that's our next one. Number 7, find the product of 3/5 times 7/4, then write another pair of factors with the same product. Remember, product means answer when multiplying, okay? So we have 3/5 times 7/4. We end up with 21 over 20, which is 1 1/20. Okay? So you might have come up with multiple scenarios that got you to this one, but I'm going to simply go with the idea of 7/2 times 3/10, and that would get me to 21/20. This is going to have a variety of answers. The main thing is that you had to have gotten to this product, the same product that you had with the first problem. Number 8, find the product. So we have 5/8 times 6/3, which equals 5 times 6, which is 30, and 8 times 3, which is 24. Now that is definitely, well, that's actually an improper, so we would have to house divide it out. So if I did that, I had 24, 30. We'll go into it one time. That would be 1 6/24, which actually equals 1 1/4. All right, number 10. Ben and his 5 friends. So we have Ben and his 5 friends. So how many people is that? That is actually 6 people. And each have 3/4 of a cookie. How many cookies do they have in all? So if Ben and his 5 friends are sitting around and they each have their cookies, if they were to take their cookies and put them all together, how many cookies would they have in all at the end result? So you would take your 6 times 3/4, which would be 6/1, which would equal 18/4, which if we house divide that one, 4 goes into 18, 4 times, which is 16, subtract. I get 4 2/4, which actually equals into 4 1/2. So if they took all of their little 3/4 of a cookie and put it together, they would end up with 4 1/2 cookies at the end. Select each expression that has a product of 4. Once again, product meaning answer. Okay, this one here would be 4 over 4, which actually is a 1. This one would be 20 divided by 5, which equals 4. Here we have 24 over 6, which means 24 divided by 6, which equals 4. We put our 1, we have 12 divided by 3, which equals 4. And we put our 1 and we have 28 divided by 7, which equals 4.
Wow.
Okay. Sasha found the product of 1/8 times 40 to be 5. Use that information to find the product of 7/8 times 40. All right. Well, let's figure out what 7/8 times 40 is and see how that correlates to the other one. We put our 1 down here. 7 times 40 would be 7 times 4, which is 28 with a 0, okay, over 8. If I took 280 and divided it out by 8, I would get 3, go to 24, subtract, I get 4. 8 goes into 40 5 times, okay? So 28 over 8 equals 35. So let's look at the pattern that we have going on up here. They said that 1/8 times 40 is 5, and 7/8 times 40 is 35. Well, if we go back to when we used to do unit fractions, we would know that 7/8 is also 7 times 1/8. So 7 times 5 is 35. Okay, our last two problems for this worksheet. Which of the following is equivalent to 6/3 times 4/9? Well, we need to find out what that answer is. 6 times 4 is 24, and 3 times 9 is 27. Okay, now we could simplify that down to dividing it out by 3, and we would get 8/9. So let's look down here. 6 times 4 is 24, 3 times 9 is 27. Of course that's equivalent, it's the exact same thing. 6 times 9 is 54, and 3 times 4 is 12. That's not going to get us 8/9, that's actually over a whole number. 6 times 3 is 18, 4 times 9 is 36. We could simplify that down, and we could do it by 6, divided by 6, and we would have 3/6, which would equal 1/2. That's not going to be the same thing. 3 times 4 is 12, 6 times 9 is 54. I could divide both of them by 12, and I would end up with 2/9. So the only one that is equivalent is number A, which actually is the exact same thing that's written up there as the problem. Manny has 5/6 yard of wire. He uses 2/3 of the wire. So once again, it gives us an amount of yards for the wire. And of the wire, he uses this 2/3. So once again, he uses 2/3 of the 5/6. And if we write it out like that, we can easily then change our of to a multiplication problem. And we can say 2/3 times 5/6, which gives us 10/18, which I can divide both of those by 2, and I would end up with 5/9. And my answer is 5/9 yard.